Well, hello everyone. I am Robin Carter. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator out of Flower Mound, Texas, and today I'm here to share a card I've made using the Oh Holy Night Sweet Bundles. And before we get started, I want to thank those of you who have subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much for your support. And if you are new to my channel or have yet to subscribe, I would really appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button below. So before we get started, let me introduce you to the products we'll be using. So I'm using the bundles out of the Oh Holy Night Suite from the mini catalog by Stampin' Up! Issued September through December of 2023. So let me show you those products. Here is a highlight of the products. It's a 2-page spread, and then this shows you in more detail what they are. So I'm going to show you up close. So the stamp set here is from the Night Divine set, and it includes some nice Christmas sentiments as well as this great dies. And I'm going to share some tips with you on the way, how I store stuff and things that help me in my craft room. So this is a 4x6 magnet sheet, and it's part of my favorite things. And my favorite things are items that Stampin' Up! Does not carry, but I find they help me in my craft room. And so I have links to all of these products in the video description box below. And I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you use those links, I get a few pennies back at no cost to you, and it really helps support me in my business. So I simply just take the dies off of the sticky. I put the magnet right on that tape that it comes from, and then I write how many dies are on top so that when I go to put it away, I can quickly count and make sure. Now, a new thing I started doing was I started just throwing this in my copier and making a copy of this, so that if I am missing something, I know what it is. So that's just a new thing I started doing with my dies. So the only die we're going to use today is this nativity scene here. Okay, and then the Stars at Night bundle, it includes the stamp set, these fabulous dies, and also a hybrid embossing folder. So if you, this big die here, it looks like 3, but it's actually 1. It fits in this embossing folder. Kind of, you know when it's in because it kind of doesn't move much, and you can cut and emboss all at once by running this through your die cut and emboss machine. But let me show you one that I've run through vellum to show you how pretty it is. I just ran the embossing folder. I did not cut it. I could line it back up and cut it out as well. And there's my photocopy of it in case something goes missing. Okay, so here, let me put up the catalog so I can show you the embossing. So isn't that pretty how it looks on vellum? The little stars. So anyway, it's a beautiful embossing folder and set, and as I've said many times, it's my favorite suite in a long, long time as far as Christmas. So things you'll need are, like I said, these dies. I'm basically using the dies, that one nativity scene, and some Night of Navy paper, and a card base. So some card bases that I am using, this is also something new in the catalog, are these brushed gold cards and envelopes. Now the item number for it is 162177, and it is a set of 20 cards and envelopes, but they are double-sided like this. So I am cutting them in half so I could get 40 cards and then just attaching them to a white card base. So I'll be using this as well. So I already have a half here that I created from my other half of my cards, and I'm going to share a tip. So this is one I did with some liquid glue. I don't know if you can see the little bumps, and I didn't even use that much, but it wouldn't smooth out, or it made that gold piece kind of ripply. So I recommend using either tear and tape or tape runner when attaching this to a card base. So I'm going to do that now. I have a card base here, and I do feel that this side is a tad longer, so that's going to be my front. And then I'm going to get my tear and tape, and let's put this on the card base. I got to find where it starts. There we go. Now, what I don't like with tear and tape is I have no wiggle room when attaching it to my card front, but hopefully I will get it on there nice and straight. And then the good thing, you know, it's not going to come off now. Nothing comes off with the liquid glue either once it dries, but after seeing those bumps, I want it to be safe. And that's a long piece. I may have to tear it again. Okay, so now that I have the leftover on my finger, yes, and my finger is inky again, so you have to excuse me. I've worked with the 9 of Navy for this card. Okay. One more strip to take off. Okay, now the best thing I can do, and I want the gold on the left-hand side, is to just kind of hold it and slide it, okay, and then set it down. Okay, it looks like I did pretty good. Alright, so there is our card front. No one will know that we actually took off something from something else, and great, there's something else on the inside of this card, but I'm going to continue. So, like I said, you'll need some 9 of Navy cardstock, and this one is one that I cut from the Radiating Die set. Now, this die set, I was like, oh, I don't need another die set, and then I finally got it, and I've used it a bunch, so I'm glad I finally decided to get it. Again, I have it attached on this magnet, and by the way, if you purchase these magnets, one side is more magnetic than the other. It's kind of the shinier side that's more magnetic. So I just thought I'd give you that tip. You want to probably set your die on there and kind of go like this. If it comes off too easy, then it's the wrong side. Anyway, back to the card. I used the smallest of these rectangles. Now, if you don't have these dies, you could simply just cut a rectangle. And I'm going to measure this on the grid sheet here in a second, so you have the dimensions of that. And that would be about 2 inches by 3 3/8. And I picked that die because it fits this nativity scene that I simply die cut in white pretty well. So I've searched through my dies and I decided this was the one. Okay, so we're going to adhere this down to the die cut there, and I am going to use my Tombow multi-purpose glue that I have in this fine tip glue bottle. That's why I was surprised that this glue was too much and it kind of bubbled up, but I don't know why it did on the gold. It doesn't on anything else. Alright, so this will give me some wiggle room so I can see if I have equal spacing between my shepherd and my wise man. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so then I had this here, and I wanted to do the sentiment, and I wanted to use the one out of the Night Divine Suite, and I have it on my Stamparatus. Now, this is my Stamparatus, and Stampin' Up! Is no longer able to sell this, but there are other stamp positioning tools on the market, so I'm going to continue to use this one because it's my favorite. And so this is how I do sentiments, even stamped images that have dies with them. So just kind of take the same concept. So you put the die anywhere, and I can see I have some water on there, that you don't want that on there. You dab it up, just down in the grooves. Okay, and what I do is I just ink it up, and this is going to be the image, but it works the same way with, or this is the sentiment, it works the same way with image stamps. And this is a cling one, so it doesn't need the foam here because there's foam in the stamp. And I stamp it down. Okay, Okay, now I've used the Stylish Shapes dies, and I use the second largest one. And what I do, even if I'm not mass producing, is some days when I'm not being creative, I just start cutting a bunch of them, and I'm looking for my little envelope. He disappeared when I showed everything else. Anyway, they have 3 by 5 inch, here it is, little Velcros that are also a part of my favorite things. And so I just cut a whole bunch of circles. Circles, any of my tag dies or label dies, I just go ahead and create so I have them on hand. And then I usually keep a negative from one of those so I can use it in my Stamparatus. So while I can still see that, if I can't, I'll redo it. I line this up, and I really like the grid lines here because I can tell I have 1.5, about 1.5, 1, 2.5, 1, 2.5. So I can kind of tell that's probably the center. And then I tape that down. Okay, and let me just go ahead and tape this corner. Okay, and then I get out my die, or my label that I cut. Okay, now I'm going to take a paper towel and go ahead and wet it. I have a spray bottle of water that I keep handy. You don't have to take this off, it'll just be on the back of your label, but in case it happens to show through, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that image. Alright, and then I'm going to put my label in. And since it's a circle, it doesn't really matter where it goes, you just want it in there good. And I am going to put my magnet just where I know the sentiment's not going to get. Oops, that might get it. Alright, let's take it along the top. Okay, that'll be good. So I'm going to re-ink my stamp. I'm just using my spot. I find with my Stamparatus the spots work nicely. And by the way, it's a fairly economical way to get all the colors. So they do sell uninked ink spots, and they come in a pack of 5, and then you could buy the refills, and you could make your whole collection of ink in ink spots. Alright, just give that a second for it to absorb into the paper. Now with the foam, if you notice, I mean I was pressing, but I wasn't like really smashing. You don't want to do that in case you got ink on the side. Okay, that's a nice image. So I'm going to set that over here to use on our card. And then my chamois is getting wet, so I'm going to clean that later. Okay, so we have our card, our nativity scene, and now we have our sentiment. Now, to mass produce these, I would kind of do everything at one time. I would cut a whole bunch of these white, cut a whole bunch of these dies, however many you're going to make cards for, cut a bunch of these labels, and then stamp those labels. But any way you like to do it, I just find that works best for me when I'm mass assembling, and then I store everything together. Now, this was nice, but I was like, this space is fairly blank, and it needed some more bling. So I brought in the Stars at Night dies, and I used this die right here, and I really love the embossing that it does in the die. I don't know if you can see that. Let me show you with the back of the card maybe. Oops, that's a little close. See the embossing? It's a nice detail for those for this die. So I've pre-cut that so you didn't have to wait on me. And then, since the trinkets have been unavailable and they were very hard to get, I have loved using this little die that comes in the Stars at Night set. So it cuts 3 itty bitty stars. I have them right over here. It cuts this larger of the 3. It cuts this shape, and it cuts this shape. Now I did use those on my last paper pumpkin. I used this star a lot. But anyway, I used that. So I just started playing with them and where I wanted them. But those were quite a bit different than this one. So then I brought in this star. This one right here. So I like how many star options you have. And I think I have one pre-cut in here as well. It's a nice shape. Okay, so I just wanted to start building my scene. But let's start putting some things together now that we're building our scene. So this I wanted on dimensionals, and I have some full-size ones here that I cut in half generally because I find half is enough. So I generally do one on each corner. Quite didn't get those in half, did I? Those are a big part of half. And then one in the center for support there. Just give them a mash to make sure they're adhered. And then I want this in the center at the bottom. And this is why I love the grid sheets. So I can find the center here at 8, and it hangs off 1/8 of an inch on each side. And so then I can just hold this here and see if I have about 1/8 there, 1/8 there, and set it down, and that is close enough to center. No one's going to measure that, but I did the best I could. Okay, same thing with the sentiment. I want it on dimensionals as well. So this is going to get the smaller side. I didn't do a good job cutting them in half. Kind of big on that side. And since those are little, let's put one of these in the middle. So the best thing of using a circle is you don't have to worry about your stamping straight on a line. You can just stamp it in the circle, and when you adhere it to your card, you can line it up that way. Okay, so like I said, I wanted some things here. Now this is where it gets tricky. I do love dimensionals. You could just glue this down for faster cards if you have to make a whole lot, but I really wanted this bigger one on a dimensional. So I got out my minis, and I did find that got stars coming out all over the place. But you know what? Let me put this on my magnet sheet before it disappears, because I lost it a while ago and had to create more little ones, and I about went crazy looking for it, but it was where I had set it, of course. All right, so I'm going to turn this over. I want take my pick tool. This one has well, it has the spatula on it. Let's see how it does. I have two, that way I can just keep the spatula on one, the fine tip point in the, so a mini one fits in the center. Now, for putting one on the legs, I debated, and you don't have to, but if you really want to make sure it's down, what I suggest is cutting one of these minis in half. And I already kind of have one in half, or even not even quite in half. And then putting it on these longer legs somewhere where it won't show. That's where I need my take your pick tool, but it disappeared as well. My one with my fine tip on it. So I'll just keep using my fingernails and hope I can get it on there straight. It'd be easier with my take your pick tool. Okay. Ooh. Alright, come up again. There we go. He's on there straight now. And if you turn it over and any shows, you can trim it off if you want. You might have to go at an angle like that to get it off. Okay, so let's take off these backings. And put it there. I'm pretty sure this is like the tail is not bigger than the top, so it goes fine there. And then I just wanted to do a variety of stars, so let me see how I like to put them around. There, maybe one over here. Okay, that one star would be enough, but I really like the look of all the different stars, so I'm gonna add these flat and try to get the tail straight. And this one. And I like this different, all of them are a little different shaped. You know, I think that's plenty, but since I have him cut, let's try to get him on there. Now, I think what might work best is just to go put the glue there. I hope I didn't get my hair under the camera. Oh, I need my putty from my Take Your Pick tool side. Okay, to mass produce these, I'm probably not going to put that many stars. But anyway, that shows you a nice look. It fills in this corner. It gives it some nice shine and interest. And so that is my card that if you're looking to mass produce one with using the Oh Holy Night Suite, I thought this one works nicely. So here's two others I've made. As you can see, I did them a little different. This one, I just used those stars. This one, I used all of them, but didn't have that little one. So, like I said, you could easily do this assembly style and have some nice Christmas cards to mail out for this Christmas. Or you could start on for next Christmas if you're running out of time on your Christmas cards. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Now before I close, I want you to know that today is the first day of some online exclusives. And I have one sweet set that I want to show you. Oh, and by the way, this is one that I did casing the catalog a while back. So it's a beautiful card, but let me tell you, if you were going to mass produce these, it would take you quite a bit of time because there's so many die cuts and everything. But I do love this card as well, and I have a video on my YouTube channel showing how I made this. It's just a case from the catalog. So there's some other ideas. This set is going to stay in my craft room. It's a keeper. So I love the Christmas sets that they've come up with this year. Okay, back to the online exclusive. So online exclusive products are simply that. They are not in any publication. You can see them online only. But this is the Garden Meadow bundle. It is there is a suite that goes to it, but I think one item is unavailable. So, and then it has some beautiful paper. And the paper is called Meandering Meadows, and it has quite a list of coordinating colors. I'm not going to read them all off. It's quite a lot. Alright, but I am going to show you the paper. I'm just going to flip through kind of quickly. Okay, I am back. I'm sorry, I had a tickle in my throat that would not go away to some coughing. So I'm going to start by flipping through this paper one more time and see if I can get through this. Alright, so I'm just showing you each side. You do get 4 each of the designs, I believe, in this pack, and I really love this side of a lot of them. So some nice colors to work with. Be great for spring cards. So, like I said, this is an online exclusive product that's available for customers starting today. So if you want to grab that, you can. Now there's some little brass butterflies and dragonflies, but last I looked, those were unavailable. So you can at least grab up everything right now, last I looked, while those are still available. So that's all I have for you today. Now, my next couple weeks are going to be busy. So I have in-person class for my paper pumpkin. I also am getting ready for a vendor booth at our church where I set up cards and stuff and show all the paper pumpkin possibilities things. And then the next week is Thanksgiving. So if I don't have a video before Thanksgiving, I want to wish each of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you can enjoy it with family and friends and enjoy that time being thankful for all that we have. Also, if my paper pumpkin for November shows up, I will do an unboxing so long as I'm in town, obviously. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing to my channel and ring the bell for notifications of when I post my next videos. So I hope this gives you some ideas of how you could quickly make some Christmas cards. And until my next video, I'm going to say goodbye. Talk to you later, everyone. Bye-bye.